now Cassia and I will be talking through today's Bible reading and our reflections on behalf of St. Mary's Indian Orthodox Church, Bristol. Today's reading is James chapter 1, verses 2 to 12. So before we start with the reading, we thought that it would be useful to give some context to the letter of James. So the letter from James is about lots of different topics, but its main focus is on practical instructions on how we can think about the teachings from God and Christ and how we can implement those in our lives through actions. The first part of today's reading is about faith and wisdom. My friends, consider yourselves fortunate when all kinds of trials come your way, for you know that when the faith succeeds in facing such trials, the result is the ability to endure. Make sure that your endurance carries you all the way without failing, so that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. But if any of you lack wisdom, you should pray to God, who will give it to you, because God gives generously and graciously to all. But when you pray, you must believe and not doubt at all. Whoever doubts is like a wave in the sea that is driven and blown about by the wind. If you are like that, unable to make up your mind, and undecided in all you do, you must not think that you will receive anything from the Lord. So, the first section of today's reading, which is about faith and wisdom, focuses on lots of different things, but these are the main points that I'd like to share. So the first one is the importance of moments of hardship to build resilience. The challenges that we face in our lives are important because it helps us reflect on those moments and grow spiritually. And secondly, this links with our courage to seek wisdom from God when we are unsure. We shouldn't be afraid to ask God for help when we need it and seek support. And thirdly, this passage also shares the importance of not doubting God in our faith. I'd like to hand over to Cassia to read the second part of today's passage.
Poverty and riches. Those Christians who are poor must be glad when God lifts them up, and the rich Christians must be glad when God brings them down. For the rich will pass away like the flower of a wild plant. The sun rises with its blazing heat and burns the plant. Its flower falls off, and its beauty is destroyed. In the same way, the rich will be destroyed while they go about their business, testing and tempting. Happy are those who remain faithful, and they will receive as their reward the life which God has promised to those who love Him. So in the second part of St. James chapter 1, it highlights a lot of different areas, and James is still dealing with the same theme of seeking wisdom for our trials. So he gives practical wisdom for two specific groups experiencing trials, and among these scattered Jewish Christians, there are both poor and rich. And though we might feel tempted to think that the poor might have it more difficult, but from a spiritual perspective, the rich may have it even worse. Poverty and wealth are trials that can hinder us to respond to these trials wisely so they can mature in Christ and ultimately be rewarded for how they handle their trials. These are parts of the main lessons that we can see in the second part. And how do these lessons relate to our daily lives? If we do face challenges ourselves, we should not be afraid to confide in God and ask for help. We should equally be prepared to support others facing hardship, even if we may not face the same. Keeping faith in difficult circumstances is a way of showing love for God and trust in Him. So when we find ourselves uncertain of where to turn when it comes to morals, we can find solace or comfort in turning to God and asking for His truth to be revealed. Thank you.